Welcome to On the Chain. This is Chip. Jeff is off tonight, and welcome everybody, especially the On the Chain family. If it's your first time here, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Now, tonight on this video, we got lots of cool stuff coming up. It absolutely looks like somebody is going bye-bye. We'll get into who exactly that is, and it probably was a hint if you saw the thumbnail. Also, Ripple partner making some big moves in the cross-border remittance. And we'll talk about regulation. And also, John Deaton. We're going to talk about his happy ending to this SEC monstrosity. And let's face it, it is a monstrosity. It's a complete disaster, but it's probably going to end out pretty well. We're going to go ahead and we're going to workshop that. Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Welcome down the chain, everybody. Like I said, Jeff is off tonight. He'll be back tomorrow night with special guest. You know him as JV the Great. He will be here right here. I'll be out tomorrow night. And then Thursday, there might be something cool going on. We'll get a little bit into that as well as we get closer to it. But I just want everybody, as always, drop in the city and the state where you guys are from. Drop it in there. I want to see where you guys are coming in from. We've got an international audience. And I always like to see where everybody is. Look at GDLT, another phenomenal YouTuber right there. The future is bright. In fact, it's so bright, you have to wear shades, right? Exactly how it goes. Now, I kind of teased this a little bit at the beginning of the video, but something remarkable has happened, or at least is in the process of happening. And we're going to sort of like workshop that a little bit here. I want to jump into this. Let's go ahead right here. As I like to say, let's dive headfirst into the shallow end. For what? Maximum impact. And we're going to do just that. So let's look at this right here. You guys know her, you love her, you can't live without her. Who is this right here? Well, this is Omarova, and this was during the nomination hearing when she got hammered. When I say hammered, that might be a misstatement right there. Understatement. She got destroyed, not only by Republicans, but also Democrats. It was bipartisan destruction. The questioning, calling to light some of her previous views. And again, she was up for the OCC, the office that Brooks held back in the day when he did some really good things like allowing banks to custody crypto. So this came out today. Biden withdraws bank regulator pick after the congressional pushback. And one of the nice things to see here and talk about is, and that's right, Berserker, let's go. One of the nice things, Michigan's in the house. Look at that right there. Love to see that. Of course, Jeff and I, have a Michigan connection as well. But if you look at this, what's fascinating about this was it wasn't a one-sided thing. Now, as everybody knows, or maybe you don't know, and it's international, one of the things about Congress is right now the Democrats control the House of Representatives. That's the one chamber. Then after that, you got the Senate. And so they control both branches. So it really wouldn't have mattered so much what the Republicans thought. But again, in this case, we are getting a lot of pushback from the Democrats. So it says President Joe Biden's pick for top banking regulation position was withdrawn on Tuesday after strong pushback from Senate Republicans and several Democrats. Now, the way they position it in the article is like, yeah, okay, several. But the several means that they wouldn't have had the votes necessary to be able to go and pass. And when this kind of stuff, when this actually happens, one of the things they have to look at is, well, if we're not going to get defeated. We're not going to actually go to a vote anytime there's somebody, and even going back to Gary Gensler, when Gary Gensler was nominated and they had the hearings and they had the vote, they kind of know up front, right? They sort of know that he has the votes. Like, in other words, the Democrats, if they need a couple Republicans, more so in the Senate than anything else. But again, if they don't have the votes, then that's going to be troublesome. And that's exactly what happened here. And you saw the pushback. Now, this could have been horrible I think it could have had long-reaching issues, especially when we talk about how it could have affected crypto. When you think about it, this right here, she's a typical academic, professor at Cornell Law School. She drew criticism for her proposals to dramatically centralize. Let me pull this up and make it a little bit bigger. To centralize banking, and her thesis on Karl Marx was widely seen as the founder of communism. Well, the last time I checked, That's kind of who he is. That's why, the founder of, of course, there's Marxism, communism, there's all those isms. And she was a proponent of too many of those isms that made her not an ideal candidate, and probably something the Democrats kind of wanted to avoid at this point, as they're looking for good connections and positive stuff happening, not so much on the negative side. I want to throw that up there. Thank you very much. I can't read that, but I'll read the 21. It looks like EC 2189. Thank you for that. It says, who gave Congress the bloody blue? That might be some, who gave Congress the bloody blue? I'm not sure what you're actually getting at. You'll have to break it down. It's probably a little bit of about a slang in there. Biden said in a statement that Omarova asked him to withdraw her nomination to be comptroller of the currency, and he agreed to do so. I'm not so sure it went down that way, but it could have gone down that way. Now, more than likely what happened here, and how it usually happens, they found out they didn't have the votes. Okay, we don't have the votes. And the next thing is it kind of gets leaked out that they don't have the votes. And then that person does the right thing and says, you know what, I want you to withdraw my nomination. But it's a better way to position it than if Biden withdrew the nomination, right? The Democrats didn't do that. And it's just better positioning. Doesn't matter what party's in power. It's the right positioning. And as a strong advocate for consumers and staunch defender of the safety and soundness of our financial system, Sully would have brought invaluable insight. I don't know so much about that. We broke down some of her videos. I don't think there would have been a lot of valuable insight. Now, I think one of the things that really sank her nomination, my hair is too tight. Is that what you said? My hair is too tight. Well, I did get a little bit of a trim on the sides, and I got this little, ponytail in the back over there. So it's like, yeah, I did get it trimmed up. I was getting way too crazy long, and so yeah, it is pulled back. You're absolutely right about that. Let's go on to this. So Omarova did not say, of course she didn't say, why would she have said that? Like, didn't say she made the request in a letter released by the White House, besides describing it as no longer tenable for her to continue as the nominee. Pat Toomey, who was phenomenal in the hearings, he was a top Republican on the Senate Banking Committee. He noted that Omarova herself called her proposals radical. That's how she spoke about her own proposals. And in the writing, she expressed the desire to effectively end banking as we know it and let the Federal Reserve set the prices for food and energy. Now that right there, that's a game killer, right? So there's not a lot of love lost with the Federal Reserve right now. And for you to say we want to get rid of private banking, yeah, it's pretty dramatic. It's pretty radical to say I want the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve has nothing to do. It's a central bank. It has nothing to do with the sovereignty of the U.S. They loan the U.S. $1. The U.S. has to borrow $2, another dollar to pay the interest on that first dollar, and so on and so forth. And it's a whole system, and this is basically worldwide. It's a system built upon debt. Not a good look. So what she was hoping to achieve was, let's get rid of the banks. Let's destroy them all. No more private banking. All the banking will be controlled by the government. Now, we've seen how that's worked out when there's been a run on banks in other countries. We've also seen when state-run banks ends poorly and pretty bad. So my concern with Professor Omarova is her long history of promoting ideas she herself describes as radical. I agree they're radical, but I also describe them as socialist. In fact, I've never seen a more radical nominee to be a federal regulator, Toomey said during the hearing. And that's right. And, of course, you had John Kennedy, who was the one who famously asked Gary Gensler and said, are you their daddy? He's like, no. He goes, then why do you act like their daddy? He was basically grilling him in a hearing, asking why he was treating them like a dad, an overprotective dad. He said, why do you put your personal beliefs? And this is John Kennedy, who was given his stuff. He said, so did John Kennedy, Tim Scott, Tom Tillis also indicated they oppose the nomination. Now, what's interesting is they don't get into the Democrats, although I know a few of them, but again, I don't think they publicly get into it. Here we go. So some said they did support the pick, but Senators Mark Warner, John Tester expressed concern about her. Tester didn't appreciate Omarova criticizing legislation that he helped write. Yeah, that's usually something that's not always a good look. It's like, when you're being interviewed and you go like, well, this piece of legislation is complete garbage. Hi, I was the one that created that. Okay, that's not a good look. You're not going to win any favors doing that kind of stuff. It's like, that's when you just want to slide back down into your chair and sort of, kind of fall out of sight. But again, you don't criticize somebody. When you're being interviewed in a hearing, you don't sit there and bite the hand that supposedly feeds you. and then the comptroller. It's a Senate confirmed position. So this is really where they had the votes in the House, but the Senate currently was divided 50-50. Democrats can break ties through the VP. The VP has that tie vote. Kamala Harris would be able to vote, but problem is they didn't have it. Now, interestingly enough, Biden previously withdrew the nominations of Neera Tandem to head the White House Bureau of Office Budget Management and David Chipman, like the first part of that, Chipman to run the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. So they've had some nominees here that just were not like super popular. We're just in like, well, yeah, that's just not really working and wasn't really going over so well. And, when it comes to this, there is some other news here. I'm going to see if I can, now this is some kind of good news right here. And then we'll get into the Ripple news that's coming up. Let's do this in a second here. I don't know why I'm getting some lag all of a sudden. Very strange. But I am getting a little bit of lag. So here we go. The OCC. Let me throw this up on screen. The OCC clarifies rules for national banks engaging in cryptocurrency activity. The OCC interpretive letter 1179 explains banks' authority to engage in cryptocurrency. Now, if you remember, it was Brooks, first name Scott Brooks. Is it Scott Brooks? I know it's Scott Brooks. Maybe it's not. But, Brooks, who's moved on, he's actually going to be the hearing on Thursday. He's the CEO of a new company, and his first name evades me. Maybe you guys can throw it in the chat. But he was the one that basically came out, I think it was about a year and a half ago, the summer of 2020, where he came out with his proposal and said, banks can custody crypto. And it was kind of a game-changing sort of a thing bad at the time, because I wouldn't say it was radical, but I think it was something that none of us sort of saw happening so quick. Because if you think about it, when we talk about mass adoption, the first problem we have, if you guys have ever dealt with a cold storage wallet or moving crypto from here to there, if you've ever known somebody or you yourself have sent like a small amount of crypto or a large amount of crypto and it never got to its destination because you just missed one number, I see this as being the big issue with people that are new into the space. They're new and they just say, I'm going to buy Dogecoin, and they buy Dogecoin. And it's easy if you do it on an app like Robinhood, but the problem with Robinhood is at the time, I think they've sort of changed that, but you couldn't move it off of Robinhood. But here's the problem. If people are going to have $1,000 worth of crypto and they're trying to move it somewhere, and all of a sudden, whoops, that's gone forever. It's in the ether somewhere. Nobody knows what happened to it. Completely gone. And so this is one of the things that I think is going to be good. OCC clarifies that all crypto activities may only be conducted at the bank after both notifies its supervisory office of its intent to engage in such activities. And let me put this back over here. And receives written notification of the supervisory office's non-objection of such activities in order to receive the grant of non-objection, blah, 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 blah. So what controls must be in place to engage in crypto-related activities? So according to the letter, federally chartered banks must have the significant or sufficient controls and safeguards in place to demonstrate their supervisory authority. It's a lot of blah, blah, blah. I mean, basically, they got to make sure that they're ticking all the regulatory boxes there. And the bank's compliance with regulations, their existing appropriate risk management, all the stuff that they normally have to do anyway, but it's just applying to crypto. Bank's ability to address novel risks associated with crypto. These are new risks that are very different than any other monetary, the fiat that they're going to be involved with. And after implementing the controls, bank needs to do this and blah, blah, blah. So what about nationally chartered banks that are already engaging in those crypto activities? It also states that banks that are already engaging in activities of today do not need to obtain retroactive approval. So they're kind of grandfathered in, meaning that they don't have to go back and then go through all the rigmarole to sort of bring it current. They've already been approved, and that's it. So, and there's a lot of other stuff here about cipher trace and anti-money laundering, AML, blah, blah, blah. It's all this normal stuff banks have to go through. There are controls to sort of deal with that. So there you go, and there you have it. And just like Tony Frisk says, it's magic. Pretty much it, just magic. Just works, right? And I second that. It is sort of magical in a great way. So let's see what else we have queued up here. And what is with this weird lag that I'm getting today? It's very odd. Okay, so I also teased this one a little bit, and I really kind of like this. I like the idea. Wow, I am really freezing up here. What is going on? Let's see. Holy cow. Let me try turning off my. Do you guys hear my sound now? I don't know what happened. Let me see what's going on. What a disaster. I don't know what's going on today, but there is no sound. I do not know why. You guys still hear me or no? Test 1, 2. I don't understand what the deal is here, but let me see if I can get this thing sorted out because my sound says it's working on this side. Let me look here. Everything looks to be good. I don't know why you guys don't have sound. I don't know. You guys have sound? Sound up? Is it working? Say yes if it's working so I can continue on here because I don't know. This is what happens when you're doing this alone. When someone's like, there's no sound. But meanwhile, I'm getting sound levels on both devices over here. So I don't know. All good. Got it. So let's go back into this. I'm going to refresh this piece right here since we ran into an issue. I don't know where you guys lost me at, but I wanted to go in this John Deaton piece where he talks about how a couple of rulings in a bull market could transform XRP into the only altcoin with clarity. There's a way for the Ripple case to end and all parties win. It requires two things. First off, you need favorable rulings for Ripple on fair notice and the deliverable process privilege and an altcoin bull market causing XRP to surpass the all-time high, for example, hitting $5 or higher. You with me so far? Ripple owns over 50 billion XRP, and a $5 XRP equals Ripple being worth $250 billion, significantly more valuable than Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs. And if Judge Torres denies the SEC's motion to strike the fair notice defense and Judge Netburn overrules the SEC's claim that the Bitcoin and ETH and XRP documents are privileged, well, then you have Gary Gensler and the SEC could be facing a very significant precedent-setting loss, with huge implications. Those implications could cause the SEC to avoid a trial or summary judgment. If XRP were to hit $5, Ripple could sell 10% of the monthly unlocked escrow and pay a settlement/fine totaling as high as $500 million, providing Gensler with a big public victory and bragging rights. So this is sort of interesting point of view here. So there's a lot of things that have to happen that could cause the SEC to avoid a trial or a summary judgment But I like the idea if, John's assessing that if XRP were to hit $5 and Ripple could sell 10% of the unlocked escrow, pay a settlement fee, could be 100 as much as 500 million. I think he meant $500 million there. Providing Gensler a big victory. So that's part of it. And then it would be one of the biggest settlements in SEC history. If the settlement includes a declaration that ongoing sales of XRP are not securities. Now, if we look at this from that point of view, one of the things that Brad Garlinghouse expressed many, many times, like, no, we wouldn't settle unless we had, well, why would you waste your time spending a year plus in court and not getting any settlement? It's like, well, what about XRP? Well, we still don't know. Wait a minute. How can you still not know? It's been a year and a half. This is one of the things that has to come out of this whole thing. That's what John's basically looking at here. And one of the things he's saying is it would be one of the biggest settlements. And if the settlement includes a declaration, then XRP gets relisted, clarity is established. The SEC can then use the money to create a fund that helps reimburse harmed XRP holders. Now, this is the part that I like the most, because if they created that fund, that's part of what was in John's original filing, was the fact that XRP holders, call it investors, were harmed significantly by this lawsuit. And what he's saying here is that the SEC could create a fund potentially. I'm not going to hold my breath on this one, but I like where he's going. Create a fund that helps reimburse the harmed XRP holders. How would that work? I have no idea. And how would you track something like that? Hard to know. I guess you'd have to go back to snapshots or what people held at a specific point in time. But what about the people who had giant bags, right? They had a giant bag, and then they basically sold them because they got nervous. They got scared, like, hey, I'm going to lose all my XRP here, and the value is going to crash, and I'm going to be in trouble with the government. And they went into panic mode, and then everything sort of works out. So those are the people I really feel the worst about. Then he goes on to say that Gensler gets the credit helping his political chances. Ripple goes public, immediately becomes one of the most valuable fintech companies in the world, replacing Swift. Yes, touche. And then XRP returns to battling Ether for the number 2 spot. XRP holders finally get to see which technology wins. Does everybody win in the above scenario? Well, the SEC wins, Ripple wins, XRP holders who never sold win. Ironically, it says, but what about the other crypto projects? If the above scenario happens, ironically, only Bitcoin and XRP would be safe. Now, can ETH investors honestly say they're not worried? Cardano, right? And what he's getting into here is the fact that despite all of the hoopla around Bill Hinman's speech in 2018, it's all just conjecture. It was like he gave his generic, this is my personal view disclaimer at the very beginning of that. And what John's getting into here is I like this whole scenario because there really is nobody to go after when it comes to Bitcoin. It's safe regardless if SEC says it's good, it's bad, it's indifferent. Now, depending on the way you might package like a mining pool or certain things that could be potentially be securities, okay, that's a separate scenario. But when it comes to Bitcoin specific, yeah, there's no, it was brilliant in the sense that there's no Satoshi Nakamoto. Good luck finding who's Satoshi Nakamoto. He, her, nobody knows the proper pronoun. Nobody even knows who created it. Could have been an alien. Nobody knows. So that's in the clear. Now, the whole idea of ETH is this whole idea of 2014. This coin sale that they had wasn't called an ICO. We kind of know how that goes. Now, if you guys are new in the space, you might not remember this. There was a time where XRP was in the second position. It was right underneath Bitcoin. It actually rose above Ether. Didn't stay there long. Point of the matter is that it did rise above Ether, Ethereum, and it stayed there for a little bit, but it was number 2. So if you look at the highest position per market cap, XRP is number 2. Always been number 1 has been Bitcoin. Now, if you go back 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago, I believe it's still the case. It's always been the king, the queen, whatever you want to say, but it's always been number 1. But you can see these spots jockeying for position. I saw something new today that said it was the first one in the 10th position. It kind of came out of nowhere. I think it was Luna. I think Luna moved into the 10th, at the 10th biggest crypto. I think it was either 10th, somewhere around there. It's 10th largest crypto by market cap, which is just incredibly. And right here, GDLT is making a great point here is proof of work doesn't scale. Yeah, it doesn't scale. That's part of that's a big issue right there. Also, not eco-friendly. But again, this is one of the things that has plagued the Ethereum project. They've been working on Ethereum 2.0 for God knows how long. It's been quite a long time from what and I don't think they even have it anywhere. Although I did see somebody tweet something out about Coinbase showing an ETH 2.0 or something along those lines. Don't really remember what it was. Okay, there it is. Thank you, GDLT. Appreciate that. In early 2018 is when the total market cap passed Bitcoin. Thank you for that. So the XRP total market cap. Oh, so XRP was in the number one position, is what you're saying. Okay, I didn't even realize that. Not that it's only 3 years ago, but you can't remember everything, man. Yeah, you had. Let's see. What is XRP New Zealand saying? Craig Wright. Yeah, Craig Wright. There was that big lawsuit that he has to pay. I saw a little bit of that. Alex G. Chip. What's up, Alex G? Good to see you in here. I wanted to ask this one here is another good comment. Let me see it here. So if XRP goes to number 2, that means the ETH goes down to less than $10 because XRP would not be greater than $4,000 anytime soon. LOL. Yeah, well, a lot of things can change and happen over a period of time. I'm not saying that that's in fact what it is, but I don't think it has to go there. I don't actually think it has to get to $4,000 before it could surpass the market cap. I'll have to do some math and crunching on that, but I don't think that's the case where it has to go past 4,000. I think it's a lot smaller of a number just based on how many people hold it. But I could be wrong, and maybe you guys are smarter and you guys can do some math on that. But I don't believe that that's the case right there. But getting back to this, John Deaton says during the investigation, Charlie Gasperino and Eleanor Terrett, they spoke to former SEC officials. And they remember Eleanor wrote that beautiful piece. It was a long piece, that was the one where she cornered. If you remember, she was at that famous fireside chat between Gary Gensler and the former chair, Jay Clayton. And she saw Jay Clayton kind of running for the exit and said, "Hey, Jay, what did you think about the investigational piece that, we did?" Charlie and he's like, thought for a second and said, it was long. He called it right thing to say. What was he going to say? Then he kind of like vacated the building. So during the investigation, Charlie and Eleanor, they did interview former SEC officials. And then here you can listen to what Charlie Gasperino said on the Liz Clayman show, which I will play this in a little bit. And after investigating, Gasperino concluded that it's possible that Gensler is waiting on the outcome of the Ripple case. Then he may go after Ether. The outcome isn't limited to winning on the merits. The outcome could be a huge settlement. So that's something pretty incredible there too. So it could potentially be a big, big, big settlement. And I don't know why I'm glitching all over the place here, which is very odd. What's going on, Jeff? I'm glitching crazy today, so I'm going to go ahead and do a restart.
All right. Start this whole thing over. Take it from the top.
No, we're not going to take it from the top. And then I did a dumb thing where I removed myself from the chat, and then I actually lost the volume because I hit the wrong button. But when you're talking,
man.
You're right. Like into a rule, and you're like, "Hey, blah blah blah," and you can see that I'm glitching bad tonight, which is really odd.
Man.
But I covered the John Deaton tweet, and we are right past the video. One past the video, so you want to pick it up on the.
All right. Well,
yeah,
Omarova. See if I can. Did you talk about Omarova?
We talked about Omarova. Bye-bye. We hit that piece. And then the second one, the John Deaton one, we are at, if you go right past this, we just hit this one right here, the after investigating. So if you go to the next one, there's a reason Gensler won't comment. If you pull that up and get there, and then we'll be able to do it from there. And then Jim D said, exactly, Gio. If everything goes to a tokenized global assets of kinds of early crypto pioneers holding the best utility tokens will be mega billionaires if diamond hands. Yeah, that's also a potential thing. I mean, without a doubt.
I like it. Did you play the video already?
I didn't play the video. No, you want to play that? I'm going to go restart because there's something weird going on my computer here.
I'm going to pull this this video up, and then we're going to see what we can... that means I gotta unshare and reshare, but either way, it's awesome to be here with you guys. So let me stop my share screen. You start the share screen over again. So it's awesome to be here. What is up, everybody? Great to see everybody. Glad that I was able to make it in record timing. Oh, great. Just started the screen share again without the audio. That's what happens. Jump into this thing. Here we go. Got it. We can hear the audio. Chip's down there talking. There he goes. Finally got out. All right. So what do we got here? Sophie, what is going on, Sophie? Great to see you here. Crypto G, Onyx, and everybody else that is here. Yeah, it's great. Didn't know if I was going to make it in time. Glad I made it just in the nick of time. Perfect timing. So what we got here, Apex. Jeff joins the stream, which means that the 60-minute clock starts from the top, which is great. Now, I do agree with Crypto G because Chip is most likely a simulation. So big hola to Ani as well. And Scott, what is going on? Glad that I made it. All right, so let's pull this up. Let's check out this. Let's check out this video that was posted here, and it's nice because John is saying during their investigation, Gasperino and Eleanor spoke to former SEC officials. Listen to what Gasperino said on the Liz Clayman show. Now, this is going to be interesting. Now, this is obviously really positive, especially considering what you guys already talked about. Wish I did not miss the beginning when you guys were talking about Omarova being kicked to the curb. And I saw that big boot was a net positive. That just tells us that things are actually moving in the right direction, that not everybody has completely lost their minds. So, all right, let's pull this up. Let me reverse. There we go. Let's play this and let's enjoy and see what we got here. Hang on a second.
Remember, they both kind of agreed on a lot of this stuff involving what is a security coming under the SEC's regulatory umbrella and what isn't. Bitcoin, not. Ethereum, not, according to both of them.
Not a security.
Not a security, according to Clayton, and probably, we don't know about Gensler. He's gone, he's all over the place with that. I think he's waiting for the Ripple case to determine whether to go back and ding Ethereum, to be honest.
Now, this is interesting. Let me reverse this. Hang on a second. Let's rewind. Oh, look at that. You can actually see it. Look at that. Look how cool that is. You can see it in forward and reverse mode. But what I wanted to point out here, and I thought that this is really cool. So coming in at the fourth quarter, they pulled me in. It's kind of like in wrestling. I got tagged to come in. So here you've got XRP lawyer John Deaton believes that Gensler will continue regulation by enforcement. The industry should be worried. Now that is, a well said statement. What's going on, Coining? Really glad to see you on. But this is really, poignant, right? So we've got this idea that if, Gensler, keeps mentioning and, has this idea that if you just came in, just bring your project in, come in, have a sit down, have a conversation. Maybe it's over coffee. Maybe it's over a beer. I'm not really sure, but this idea that, hey, just come in and we'll talk. Now, the question is, first of all, where do you come into? What are you talking about? And based on that conversation, what is the outcome? Because the primary outcome of any conversation with Daddy G is that you're probably going to be sent to your room and, possibly you're going to have your video games taken away. And that's really bad, Chip.
It is. It is. And that's why I was saying we were talking about one of John Kennedy's things, he was grilling Omarova, and he was the one that coined the daddy thing. Is that your daddy?
Well, why are you acting like it then?
Why are you acting like it? Why are you interjecting your personal opinions? That was a good thing, man. Like, why are you interjecting your personal opinions?
That's right. Exactly. So, hey, let's play this. This is really great, and so I was just commenting on how John Deaton is really pointing out that Gensler is not going to change his tune, and he's going to continue this notion of regulation through enforcement. And really, I think at the end of the day, Chip, and it's going to be interesting to hear this. But at the end of the day, the reason why he wants to regulate by enforcement is because he knows that he doesn't have the authority to regulate. He doesn't have the authority to make law, even though he wants to pretend that he does. He wants to pretend like, he's one of these elected officials, that he's above and beyond the Congress, Chip. And so that's why he acts the way he acts. Maybe he didn't get enough ice cream as a kid. I'm not exactly sure.
There's a lot of ice cream to be going around, Jeff. But every time, this is so weird. Like, can I just share this before we watch this video? Because every time you say regulate, this always comes to mind. No, I always think of Warren G and Regulate, which is a great tune. But every time you say Regulate, I got that tune playing through my head. If you guys don't know Regulate, listen to it. It's phenomenal.
I was thinking about Tombstone. Or not Tombstone, Young Guns.
Young Guns.
Remember, regulators mount up.
Regulators who regulate any stealing of his property, and damn good too, because you can't be a geek off the street. Got to be handy with those full steel, if you know what I mean.
Oh, there you go.
Keep.
Nice.
Regulators mount up. It was clear back night, clear white moon. Warren G on the streets trying to consume.
Yeah, that's right. He did bring that in there.
Regulate was just a solid tune. But anyway, there's also a part where they sampled the Michael McDonald tune, and there's a part where they bring that in and a remix. Good stuff, man.
Nice.
Sorry, I just had to show that.
It'd be cool every time Gensler comes in, he should come in with that theme song.
Regulate. Yeah, unfortunately, we get hammered for the copyright infringements, but again, great tune.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, if you like it. So there you go.
We like it.
Warren and Gary G. That's funny, Alex. That is good. Warren and Gary G. Kind of the same thing. That's pretty good. Yeah, Warren and Gary G. Right there, man. I didn't put those two things together. That's awesome, Alex. It's gonna make me laugh all night now. Warren and Gary G.
They like to ride horseback together.
Yeah, I'm sure. Are you implying something there, Alex? Is there something implied, not stated? Sounds like there's something going on there. Something along those lines.
That's funny.
What is this one? John Doe's saying the time period reminds me of the "Wanna Be a Baller" song. Wanna be a baller. And then, there's a couple other things in there. Yeah, they want to.
Is a wannabe.
Yeah, and then so this is true. They do. Warren and Gary G want to regulate. They absolutely
great,
do,
man. The next time they bring out Daddy G though to do an interview. Obviously, he's going to be at his house, but he should march out with his has some dark shades on, come out.
So you know what's
and
interesting?
Have that theme song playing behind him. That'd be really.
So you know what's interesting, Jeff, is it's weird. Like on Twitter, you can have any tune you want behind any video, and everyone's like, yeah, whatever. You throw that on YouTube, and it's like, man, you get hammered. So
hell breaks loose.
I'm thinking of taking a little section of that regulate, putting something together with a little bit of Warren G doing his thing, interjected with some Gary G not doing his thing.
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
Regulate, man. That's and then it would be, it would just be that they want to regulate. And
the problem with Daddy G is that he never leaves his room. I just don't know. Has he ever been seen in public? Is he ever outside of that room, or do they just keep him locked up? And every so often they want him to say something, he kind of acts like it's like a caged monkey. It's like, okay, time for you to act. We got the cameras rolling. Need you to say your thing, say your tagline. I taught at MIT.
Well, again, Jeff, this is probably one of my better thumbnails right there, which is where I took Burns, Mr. Burns, and I photoshopped Gary G out of that thing and put in because the funny thing is you throw that, it looks just like him. It's like, there you go.
Oh,
there's
great.
That same room with that weird painting on the top left corner. It's like,
God,
I understand the
funny.
knickknacks, but that painting is just kind of like,
you should have put Marge Simpson up there.
That would have been funny. Now you're talking, Jeff. You just not. You know what? You're right. We got to do something like that next. I don't know why I didn't think about that.
Either that, or we got to have Daddy G show up in that white suit like that. It's John Travolta white suit.
Yeah, the John Travolta. Well, there's a couple other ones, but I like this particular one. He was in a high back chair. He was in a high back chair, and he was just kind of like doing his thing because he's bloviating. He's like, You know, and if you just picture him, Mr. Burns, Gary Gensler, interchangeable. If you just picture him right now, just saying something along investment contract. It's an investment contract. Relying on the efforts of others for profits. Investment contract. Like a skipping MP3 there, Jeff. I'm updating your broken record thing.
Wait,
a skipping MP3.
Does that actually happen?
Well, yeah,
Does an MP3 skip?
It doesn't skip unless you break your player, Jeff. It's impossible to do that. You never know. Almost anything is possible to make that happen.
Great Gary NFT. See?
Yeah, but he can't do an NFT off
rolling out all sorts of NFTs.
But that would be making profits off the efforts of others who actually drew it and just
that's true. That's
a
good point. That is a good point. We just slapped it together. We made our own thing.
Right? You know, one of the things we didn't cover the story on was the which we probably can go into here, which is
Yeah, let's do this. Let's do this video real quick.
Unless
it's a funny story.
Listen to it. No, it's not a funny story. No, it's not at all. It's not funny.
It's not funny.
It's good though.
All right, let's do this video. It's 30 seconds. Let's focus. The industry should be worried. All right, here we go.
Remember, they both kind of agreed on a lot of this stuff involving what is a security coming under the SEC's regulatory umbrella and what isn't. Bitcoin, not. Ethereum, not, according to both of them.
Not a security.
Not a security, according to Clayton, and probably we don't know about Gensler. He's gone, he's all over the place with that. I think he's waiting for the Ripple case to determine whether to go back and ding Ethereum, to be honest with you. That's how crazy this is getting. But they both agree on Ripple. And why that wasn't brought up, why they didn't mention that is just beyond me. Listen, I know it's a very controversial subject, Liz. We brought it up. Ellie Terran and I did a huge investigation on this. It is consuming the crypto regulatory world. I can't understand why they didn't do it. John Deaton, though, says expect more regulation. That was the sort of top line number or statement from Gensler. Remember, they both kind of agreed.
How do you like that, man? He's like, John Deaton, though, says, and John Deaton's, eating this stuff up.
Well, that was the one thing that, he tweeted about that thing. It's like, hey, man, forget about it. More regulation is on the way. And
by enforcement.
Right. By total enforcement.
Not legit regulation.
No. There's nothing legitimate about it. Did we finish that one up, Jeff? Or was there more?
That was it. That was the I didn't go through all the tweet, but that was the video.
That's basically the overall thing. I mean, a lot of things would have to fall into place to make it like the ideal scenario. Like if this happened and then that happened, then everything would work, which I kind of like the idea of, but I don't know. Again, that whole, I don't know. I mean, where's the win? Hey, we'll fine them. I mean, you got to get some kind of clarity out of it. But then XRP could be the only one with real clarity because, I mean, let's forget about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is its own sort of thing. But you look at all the other altcoins, I don't think, that's where I'll sort of disagree with Charlie Gasperino there is like, yeah, we're assuming, but it's been pointed out time and time again that was not the position of the SEC. It was simply Bill Himmon's personal opinion, right? But there's been a lot of things uncovered since then. Here's another big one. This one came out yesterday. This is Oman's modern exchange taps Nium for global remittances. Now, if you guys remember, Nium launched this unicorn. They're a unicorn fintech. They launched crypto as a service platform back in late October. And they said the new service will target banks, businesses, and neo-financial institutions. And then, boom, you got this. Oman's leading remittance and money exchange company and Modern Exchange today announced a strategic partnership that they will see Modern Exchange company leverage Nium's global payments infrastructure. So it's interesting. We just had that story where they were launching this as a service, and then bingo, Jeff, there it is. And they were talking about regions like APAC, Canada, Europe, Latin America, the UK, and the US as the country moves rapidly towards a more digitized, seamless, and transparent system of processing both national and international payments. Companies like Modern Exchange Company are embracing the adoption of digital payments and looking for trustworthy partners like Nium to help with their global. So this is kind of cool. It's like sometimes Ripple gets the press, but you got to always keep a keen eye out, Jeff, for Nium, right? Somebody who's already a Ripple partner.
No, I think that's solid. That's really, it's important to see the development that we're seeing in the space. And it's interesting because some of the topics that I added that we're for sure not going to get to tonight have to do with the Stellar Foundation. Some of the things that Stellar is building on. And, I started looking at Chip, and I was doing this cross comparison of some of the projects in the Stellar space, some of the projects over in the Ripple space. You see a lot of enterprise level, big bank type relationships on Ripple side, and then on the Stellar Foundation side, just as they kind of laid out their initiatives when they first started, the Stellar Foundation is very retail oriented. It's all smaller payment space, and I find it really interesting. But both of them are moving forward.
Yeah.
Why is Ripple being singled out with this whole thing? And that's what people keep asking. And it's to me, it's all goes back to politics. It all goes back to money. And, and I think at the end of the day, if Stellar's not being singled out, they're not as, big of a player yet. Exactly. Yet. But they're also focused in the retail space. And obviously the SEC doesn't care too much about their retail. We know where they stand. Their
they
passion.
don't seem to care one bit about it, Jeff, to be honest with you. There seems to be no care in the world.
Nothing. I mean, their big passion is big bank, big enterprise, big brick and mortars, anyone who pays their bill, all the big lobbyists, that's who they care about. And that's, pretty clear.
So Jeff, you did mention politics. So I'm going to pull up this next one. I've been calling her Eleanor Tarrant, but Charlie called her Ellie. So what we call Ellie Tarrant says nice. This is just Elizabeth Warren writing the SEC SEC agenda again. And so this right here, this is bombastic right here, Jeff. Here's the story. Warren urges investigative potential violations of security laws during the SPAC merger with the Trump company, Digital World Acquisition Corp, while planning to merge with Trump. Now, a weird thing about this thing, here's what I find really odd in this whole thing, Jeff, and I want to get your take. The whole idea is the one is going, so you have a SPAC merger, which allows you to raise money in a very specific way. The only way that you can do this is that you have the SEC's blessing, right? You go through dotting the I's, crossing the T. You have to be regulated by the. So this seems like, again, Jeff, to back up your point, seems almost very political in nature.
Yeah, and that's why it didn't go anywhere. It got no traction, right? So she makes these statements. She likes to hear herself talk. She's obviously, no stranger to lying and making stuff up. So just like, many of the others, they also seem to have this entire, life of deception. And so why not make up one more thing? And it didn't go very far, did it?
No, not at all.
Unless it's still getting traction. But
I'm glad you showed up tonight, Jeff, with the forked tongue. I like it, man. It's like Jeff's just like bam, 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 nailing it down, man. Crushing it. But yeah. And I love Ellie's tweet. She's like, yeah, it's just Elizabeth Warren writing the SEC agenda again. Yeah, no big deal. Again, right? So
again, there you go.
And I love when you have some people in media that are actually clever and sarcastic at the same time. Damn, do I love that. I love what Charlie Gasperino's doing. I love what's happening over there on Fox Business, how they're really starting to pay attention to crypto. I just think it's a phenomenal turn of events.
Dude, it's amazing. I mean, when you want true Main Street adoption, this is how it happens. First of all, you have John Deaton, who's, comes out of a completely different, side of law, to lead this case, goes all in, highly educated in blockchain now, mainly because he's done a huge amount of research, talked to all the players. Gasperino, obviously, a big player in the media space. Man, if you want to get, good focus and attention, and you get someone like Eleanor and Gasperino, and these guys, they're grabbing this thing. They're not letting go. They're like pit bulls, especially when you see, some potential shenanigans going on, from the three-lettered, agency. There's definitely something a little bit off. Doesn't pass the smell test. And I think this is And this is exactly where, they're driving this focus and attention. And if it's good for one, it's good for all. If it's not good for one, then, come on. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. And that's why I think they're boiling it back to politics. Politics are, evilly entwined into these decisions.
I'm so tired of these paywall. There's such a good one. There's such a great one in Bloomberg. And I don't subscribe to it because I don't really read it that often. But there was this great article that Puerto Rico lawmakers want to use blockchain to cut corruption. It's like, you want to look at one of the most corrupt places. I mean, there's so much corruption with their government officials. I mean, it's just it's a sordid history of just, and it's not like it's different than anywhere else. But I'm just saying it is interesting that the lawmakers want to then use blockchain and they want to try to cut corruption. But they're right. I mean, by using blockchain, being public, being on, you can't hide it. It's like, what happened to that money? What happened to that aid we got? What happened to the distribution? Well, here it is. It's all on the blockchain. Let me just call it up and find, okay, this went here. And then where did it go? And then where did it go? And then what happened to it? So you can build accountability in there. But again, I always hate when they have these like ridiculous articles you can't read, man.
Exactly. So, hey, check this out. I want to get your thoughts on this one because obviously there's a lot happening, everywhere. We're seeing these discussions on regulation. Obviously, we know where China's going. We know that Japan has been, very favorable for crypto, although they're looking to regulate stable coins a little bit more stricter, especially since there's a yen-based stable coin. But, India has been all over the map, right? But it just seems like, every time you turn, to look at something, you're constantly, yeah. Did you see that? The live mint. And so, yeah, so this one, every direction that you turn, you look and you say, how can it get any worse over in India? So here they're another bill that they're proposing, to ban crypto payments could mean jail for violations. Now, could you imagine this? I mean, this is just like, insane, right? So Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government has previously flagged that it plans to ban most cryptocurrencies, a move which follows measures by China this September that intensified its crackdown on crypto. I don't understand why India would even think about, following in the footsteps of China. I would think that they'd want to go the exact opposite. I mean, what do you, it's crazy that they're even having this conversation.
It is. And it's like, I hope they get their act together because I feel like they're on the cusp of like breaking it open. But again, they're almost as crazy as we are over here, Jeff. I mean, it's like they're banning it. They're going to throw every person in jail. Oh no, hey, sorry, wait a minute. We're going to meet on it and we're going to have a discussion. Yeah. And then like the next, like not even the next week, it's like 2 days later, they're banning crypto forever. And it's been going on for 3 or 4 years like this.
Yeah. So look at, according to the summary of the bill, the Indian government is planning a general prohibition on all activities by any individual on mining, generating, holding, selling, or dealing in digital currency as a medium of exchange, store of value, and a unit of account. This is where, politics again are like creeping in at every level. And another, country that has a lot of corruption, in high places, seems to be having a lot of resistance to democratizing money. So
speaking of corruption, so this is something Sophie's bringing up, that Gary Gensler's daughter is interning with Senator Warren. She needs to recuse herself. Or do I have that backwards? Absolutely. It's like insane that she's writing all this stuff. Oh, Gary, could you answer this letter that she knows nothing about, but somebody wrote for her? And then Gensler gets back to her. Meanwhile, you look at his schedule and they have personal meetings and play dates. I don't know what they do, Jeff. They do all kinds of stuff, but they have some interaction together. I mean, it's insane.
Is that true? Is that legit? It's he really?
Legit. Yeah, it's legit. I believe so. I couldn't find it because it's hard to find something like that, but I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere. So if it's not legit, then it's not. But right there, like XRP Speedboat raises a pretty important question, Jeff. Here, he wants to know if you and I are going to be getting OTC grills for our teeth. Can you imagine that? It'd be cool to have that grill.
That'd be sweet. And diamond studs.
Yeah, diamond studs, get a
On a
cool
gold
ass
background.
grill. I don't know,
Sweet.
Jeff. I don't think I could pull that off.
Say
I think you could pull it
OTC.
off. OTC with a diamond between these things. Ding, bling, bling. I don't know about that, Jeff. I'm not 100% on that. It seems a little.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be doing that. I have a
Seems a
problem
little-
wearing a mouth guard, let alone trying to put a
mouth
grill
guards are
with
no
diamonds in
fun.
my teeth.
They do
No.
keep you from biting your tongue, though, Jeff.
Yeah, they do that.
Yeah, they're good. And then this one here was pretty. It's a long article, but I just the whole thing on just the opinion here, but the headline: Gary Gensler, you should be watching how Canada is regulating Coinbase. In Canada, there's no question whether crypto exchanges offer securities and if they should be regulated as such, says our Canadian columnist, right? But again, they raised a good question and they hammer Gensler throughout this thing. Up north in Canada, all's quiet. Debate over whether cryptocurrency exchanges need to register with Canada's version of the SEC. It's already been settled, Jeff. In March of 2021 notice, the Canadian Securities Administrators confirmed that crypto exchanges do not need to be registered with the securities regulator. And you want to know why that, Jeff, is? Because digital assets are not securities. That's why the CFTC should be the ones doing the regulating. That and not Gary G, Warren G should be regulating. It's just saying.
So are you saying that Canada is more advanced?
That's exactly what I'm saying, Jeff. I'm saying they're super, super more advanced. And then I have to put this one up here too, because I don't know. Oh, wait, where is this thing? Hang on a second. It might be this next one. You got to open up 15 links, Jeff, to see what it is. So Bob Ras famously tweeted out saying, hey, on December 20th, they're revealing more details about the ecosystem. And you might know that the Solar Core team has been working on this new tech, whatever this new tech is. Then he tweeted this, Jeff. And I don't know what the hell this is. So let's figure this out. He tweeted this out. He said, best guess by December 20th wins 1,000 in solo tokens. You have to be at least 90% accuracy.
Best guess for what?
Whatever this is.
That's their new logo.
I know, but remember when they rolled out the solo and it was the backwards S and everyone knew what it was? It looks like C for Canada turned around. I don't know what it is. He talks about it being, there's a lot of great guesses in here. I don't know what you guys think of this is, but it looks like a backwards C with a circle in the middle. I don't know what that is.
And then how about the white part? Does the white part mean anything? Is it a D?
I don't know what that is.
Is it an O?
Yeah, it looks almost like CO or something like that. I don't know.
Kind of reminds me of Pac-Man.
Yeah, it looks like a little Pac-Man there too, or a bird's eye. It looks a little bit like a bird's eye there.
Oh yeah, look at that, like a seagull. Yeah.
Yeah, almost like an eye of if you backed it way out, you might think that. But people, he said, I just told somebody a Ripplebot is the only person who knows about this outside of the solo team. Let's see who that was over at Ripple that knows exactly what it is.
Who is it?
I don't know. Panos says he told somebody at Ripple. He didn't say who. He told someone at Ripple what that means. So we got to try to get it out of him. Panos says IDO platform for the XRPL, fiat and off ramp. It could be a real estate and NFT marketplace. I think it's going to be something with DeFi because
I think so too.
It's the only thing that would, we had Minus on here talking about the sell pressure. I think you almost have to. There's got to be, it's an incentive for solo holders. So the only thing I can think of as an incentive would be something along the lines. Now, I mean, tokenized, but I think it has to be something in DeFi, right?
Yeah, it looks like it's moving in that direction. But I think Who Let the Bulls Out has it right. I think it's the Omicron token coin.
Omicron. Who let the bulls out? Who?
The
Right there.
Oops.
Jim D says, looks like my bio ring battery level. Okay,
There you go.
I'm sure that's what it is, Jim D. It must be. Easy, $1,000. It's the new logo. Cameron Thomas wins right there, Bob Ras. What are you waiting for? Please award the prize.
No.
Stop talking anymore. What the hell? So anyway, Jeff, as you know, or maybe you don't know. I don't know.
I have no idea.
As you know, Jeff, and I'm about to say this, and I think you're going to know. As you know, we stream 17 times a week. Not true.
At least.
Not true. Jeff, how many times do
We stream at least Sunday through Thursday at a minimum, because sometimes pretty much always We're streaming Sunday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That makes up for 6 solid days of streaming with On the Chain. And actually on Thursday, if we can pull off this technological feat.
Yes. Secret location, Jeff.
If we can pull this off, it is going to be epic, right? I think it's going to be epic.
I think it's going to be damn cool, man. Damn
we
cool.
will be
So
streaming from a very, very cool place.
Secret location.
Very, very cool person.
Jeff, did you tell him about yesterday when we went and got lunch and a monsoon hit and we were like waiting through the water to find our cars?
Oh my God, that was absurd. We go to lunch. Well, we ended up at 2 restaurants because the first one, when we asked them to turn down the music that was turned up, if you could go to full volume and then you can go to another full.
I was screaming. I'm like, Jeff, I can't. I'm losing my voice already. I'm like, we just got here. I'm screaming. Jeff and I are like, no.
It was so crazy. And then the whole staff disappeared. Can you guys turn it down? And they just disappeared.
One by one. Then the guy at the front desk, hey, can you turn it down? Yeah, I'll go ask the man. And there was like nobody around. There wasn't that many people in the restaurant. I'm like, where is everybody?
They quit on the spot.
But Jeff, how weird is that? Like we were sitting outside, right? And, in the terrace area there, you imagine somebody walking through that's like saw like, that's actually, has seen On the Chain. And they're like, wait a minute, those what? It must look so odd. Like we're doing a show. Like, so Jeff, what do you think about the meal? Jeff, tell me more about the meal. Go into depth about that. Did you like the chips or did you prefer the sauce? Jeff would be like, well, I didn't like this and blah, blah, blah,
Yeah, well, we ended up at CPK.
CPK was good, man. By the way,
it was good. It wasn't bad.
Wasn't bad.
Tap nice 52 was out.
Tap 52 out.
So never to be seen again.
Right on. And anyway, that's all we know. OTC family, thank you once again for joining us. And again, so
tomorrow night we have a special guest. We have someone from the community joining us. JV.
Great. JV
will be joining us right here on the chain. That would be an awesome conversation. Looking forward to having Jay back on again. Jay was with us before, so it'll be outstanding to have him here with us. And then Thursday, expect some amazing things again. If we can pull off or not, yeah.
Amazing things or horrible.
Amazing or absolutely nothing, because it's either going to go perfect or it's going to go, well, we had no internet and nothing happened. But we're going to set it up either way. So one way or the other, come high or hell. What is it? Come high or hell water?
Come hell or high water.
Come hell or high water.
Like yesterday was hell and high water at the same time. We were like had to swim back to our cars. I'm like, dude, what happened? I mean, it was like a monsoon. Jeff and I were pondering, well, if you run, do you get wetter or do you just like go slower? But my feet were drenched. It was like,
oh my God.
It's a good thing we didn't have to walk far because having wet feet walking creates all kinds of blisters.
Yeah, well, when you disappeared, then all of a sudden I was in like knee-deep water trying to get to my car.
No, but I was trying to get my car to see if I could rescue you. So I ran to my car and it was like, meanwhile, some guy was trying to run me over, trying to get my spot, which sometimes happens.
And I parked in the valet spot, not knowing that was the valet. So I was hoping my car was still there. I was in the unused part, so it's perfect.
That happens. It happens. They weren't too excited about running through that monsoon. It was a complete whiteout.
They didn't seem to care.
I mean, in South Florida, if you guys don't know, man, when it rains and you can't see like cars in front of you, it's like a whiteout, like with the snow, but it's like a whiteout with rain blowing sideways, and it was silly. But anyway,
thank God you had the leftover pizza box that you could carry over your head.
Oh, I did, and thank God that thing was soaked, but the pizza was safe.
Nice.
Good to know.
So that's it.
That's it. So we got. We'll see you tomorrow. Well, Jeff will see you tomorrow night with JV the Great. And then Thursday we'll be back together from a special secret location. Hopefully that comes off well.
Live.
But anyway, guys, yeah, live in person. JV's always great. He's huge proponent of the channel, OG. So he's not on here tonight, so you can give him like any sort of feedback and production.
Oh, that's what I was trying to look. Yeah, see if
I was looking. I didn't find him on there, but he'll be here tomorrow night. Look, he can't be on there every night, man. But he'll be here live tomorrow night. You guys, they'll be deconstructing crypto. Not destructing.
You can be.
Deconstructing.
You can be here almost every night.
So that's all I know, guys. We will see you on the next one. Chip and Jeff out.
We are out. See ya.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.